The Premier League transfer window so far. It's been a bit quiet, hasn't it? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to centre around that exact topic right there of the transfer window from the perspective of a Premier League fan. I am, of course, a Liverpool fan. I am, of course, in general, then a Premier League fan. That is my main and primary source for my football material. And, of course, big Premier League fan, try and watch it as much as I can. And looking at the transfer window that is currently taking place and in progress right now, I am seeing a transfer window that I have not necessarily seen in a number of years. A pretty inactive transfer window from certain Premier League teams. And I'm just wondering why that is. So that's what we're going to explore in this video. That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. Get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in regards to this topic. Let me know what you guys think on the transfer window so far, especially from the perspective of a Premier League fan, maybe. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking and feeling in that comment section down below. I'm sure it'll make for great and interesting reading. Please do use and abuse that comment section, people. Do talk to me on this. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's talk the Premier League transfer window. First and foremost, let me just say, this Premier League transfer window hasn't exactly been as active or as exciting as what previous summer transfer windows have been. I am so used to seeing Premier League teams of all levels just go out and spend lots and lots of money. Some of it obviously spent well, some of it not so spent well, but how well or how not well those signings pay off is irrelevant. I'm used to seeing a Premier League system that is full of cash and is going to splash that cash at free will. I've not seen that to a large degree this transfer window, at least not from a large portion of the Premier League teams that we currently have in England's top tier division. One or two exceptions to that rule, of course there are, and we'll talk about those a little later, but overall for the large majority, those teams are pretty quiet. Now, of course, I will caveat that by saying that we are, of course, a good 6 weeks or so, maybe less, 6 weeks or so from away from the transfer window slamming shut. We've got well over a month before this transfer window does close. So, of course, things can always spring into life at any moment, and we could be getting deal after deal after deal after deal. But so far it's been quiet. And I know that these past couple of weeks, with obviously the international tournaments finishing, the European Championships coming to a conclusion, Copa America coming to an end as well, that things have started to pick up a little bit more faster than they had been dragging this past summer. I know that obviously certain teams have started to get the wheels in motion on their summer transfer plans. I know that obviously the activity has picked up and gone up a couple of extra notches these past couple of weeks, but it's still nothing like what we have witnessed in previous years gone by, especially, like I say, from these Premier League teams. I mean, I'm looking at both Liverpool and Fulham right now and saying, what are you guys doing? They've made no signings. Now, some might say, you don't need to make signings. You don't always need to make signings. Well, I believe you do. I believe you do. It's there for a reason. Everybody else is using it and abusing it. You might as well participate. Liverpool and Fulham definitely need that to happen. They've signed no one. No one new has come through the door at Anfield so far this summer, other than the manager, Arne Slot, the new manager, and of course his new coaching setup, and maybe some people that are behind the scenes as well. Those are the only new faces in and around Anfield and Melwood and everything. It's not good. I can say it as a Liverpool fan. And I can say that it's quite concerning. I won't blow my top off just yet. I won't go too crazy, because I know that obviously things can obviously spring into life, and Liverpool more than anyone will do that because of how they work behind the scenes and how they work in the shadows and how they basically do not drip main source information until they know it's concrete and it's definite and there is some weight behind it. So I am a little bit concerned, but I'm not going to go too crazy on that just yet. Other Liverpool fans, though, have already lost their heads on this. They've already lost their heads on the fact that we haven't signed anyone yet. And I can see it from both angles. I can see it from both sides why you would, but I think it's best to relay judgment until later on down the line. And then you come to the teams that have done something, but it may not be what everybody wants. It may not be what everybody wanted. It may not be even a first team priority. It might be someone that's a young youth prospect for the future. Teams like Tottenham, for example, I know they've signed Archie Gray. Looks like a really useful talent. Looks like he's got a lot of promise to him. But Tottenham clearly need more. And on the flip side, Tottenham have been talking about getting rid of a lot of deadwood players. And that's good. But you need to obviously bring in players that are going to be an upgrade on that deadwood. Better players than that deadwood. And right now, there's been very little talk. There's been whispers and rumours here and there, like there are for all clubs. But again, it's not all there, and the wheels aren't really being put in motion to make those kinds of things happen. So, again, Tottenham are seemingly just sat there, sitting on their hands, twiddling their thumbs, if that's possible to do whilst also sitting on your hands. But you get what I mean. They're waiting around for something to fall into their laps. And it just isn't happening right now. And it's leaving Tottenham fans, as well as Fulham and Liverpool fans, feeling a little frustrated and annoyed. Other clubs, that have done certain things are in that same boat. Your likes of your West Hams and your Arsenals. And, Arsenal made a massive splash in the transfer window by signing Calafiori. A fantastic prospect for the future and, of course, a fantastic talent and player for the present. Arsenal need more, especially if Arsenal are to be challenging Manchester City once again to the Premier League title and may actually fancy their chances of going that one step further beyond Manchester City this time around. City are another one that haven't exactly done a lot. They've signed one or two players. Again, there might actually be need for more at City, which is crazy to think given the fact that obviously they are on a run of 4 Premier League titles in a row and could make it 5 by the end of next season. But they could always find ways to improve and to strengthen, and of course Pep Guardiola's not one to rest on his laurels at all, so it's quite interesting that they've not signed as many players as the fans and maybe even Pep himself would have probably liked. So it's all interesting there. And that's why I really like the transfer window these past several years, because while some nations and some leagues might be dominated by one or two teams in particular driving up their revenue with transfer fees and obviously the transfer window watch, I guess you could say. Bayern in the Bundesliga always make a big splash every year. Real Madrid constantly make big splashes all the time. Barcelona as well will obviously pay a lot of money, even though they're in financial ruin right now. The Premier League has obviously had that with its bigger named clubs over the years, but slowly but surely, with TV money and with other money being drawn into certain clubs, other teams have started to spend big as well. Your likes of your Aston Villas, for example, who are on the verge of a big season themselves, about to go into Champions League for the first time in many a year. Unai Emery has got them playing some really good football. He's got them challenging again. It's really exciting times for Aston Villa. And, I said last year that they were going a little bit under the radar. And then this year, they go and obviously do incredibly well in obtaining Champions League football. They're about to play Champions League football. They've made several signings this summer. They're one of the exceptions to this whole inactive and boring transfer window. They've actually had a very exciting and very intriguing transfer window in which they've spent a lot of money and spent on some really interesting and some really brilliant signings, in my personal opinion. So it's all about perspective and all about who you see and what you see. But of course, Villa aren't the only ones. We've seen Brighton turn major profits in because they buy someone who's a complete unknown, who's an absolute diamond in the rough. They shine them up, they give them a platform to perform, and then they go and sell them for big money. You know, other clubs have done that at certain points, probably not as consistently as Brighton, but other smaller clubs, with all due respect to those smaller clubs, in comparisons to your likes of your Liverpools, your Arsenals, your Manchester Uniteds, your Man Cities in recent years, and Chelsea's and so on, have all done that. So it's all interesting to me watching how everyone's business does unfold and has unfolded over the years. But like I say, this year's a little different. There has been a lot of inactivity from certain clubs. Villa, like I say, being an exception. Manchester United are an exception as well. I mean, that's crazy to think that United, who have been in the mud for over 10 years, are now doing things. It's scary. And I've already put out a few things about United and said that I like the business that they're doing. Obviously, the proof will be in the pudding when the football does start again, and whether Erik ten Hag is genuinely the right man to take them forward. But overall, the business that they are doing is at least exciting, and is at least raising the optimism levels of those associated with Manchester United for the future. Made some interesting signings. There's a lot of talk around United that they're going to make more, and some of the players that they are being linked to is also intriguing as well. So again, it's positive talk all around for United. Even Chelsea, you could even say Chelsea. Like, okay, don't get me wrong, the majority of their signings have been kids, and they've hyped them to the likes of your Fabrizio Romanos and your David Ornsteins and whoever else. They've hyped them a lot, even though we have absolutely no idea who the vast majority of these youngsters are. Dewsbury Hall obviously is the main exception to that. He's obviously a player that we know about. He's obviously a player with more experience than the rest. But for a lot of those other players, I needed to start their own Wikipedia page before I knew who they were. But they've had a bit of an active transfer window as well. And I guess what you could really put it down to is FFP and PSR. Even though some of these teams are seemingly flying dangerously close to the sun on that particular law and regulation and matter, it does seem that many teams are now terrified of FFP and PSR, and that is seemingly hindering the transfer window. We saw it a little bit in the winter transfer window that just went, the one several months ago, that it was kind of slow then, and I didn't really expect it to carry over until the summer transfer window, but here we are with only a handful of big signings to talk about, which is not normally the case for the Premier League. And again, on a Liverpool front, it's frustrating because the reports out there are stating that Liverpool are one of maybe 2 or 3, 4 teams that can actually go about their business in a bit more of a free way than others can. And yet we're doing nothing. And we know the money's there because we were planning on paying Moises Caicedo 115 million for him to join us from Brighton last year. So where's that money gone? Where's the money gone from last season? It just makes no sense to me that we're not doing anything. Arne Slot surely can't look at this team and go, yeah, this team's fine for me to take on next season. We don't need anyone. We don't need to fill in any gaps. We don't need to strengthen in any positions. We're fine here. Surely that can't be the case, right? Regardless, it does seem that FFP and PSR is shackling the Premier League transfer window as it currently is. I'm hoping and praying that things will improve. I'm hoping and praying that we will get a lot more activity. I know, like I say, the wheels are starting to turn a little bit faster, and I know that certain teams are beginning to crank up the heat a little bit. United are still buzzing around several different names and different prospects. Villa are still looking to strengthen. Arsenal are looking to strengthen in a couple more key areas other than the defensive position. So, yeah, there is still a lot more room for improvement. There's still a lot of room there to obviously manoeuvre into. I'm just hoping it does. And I'm especially hoping for my club of Liverpool that they actually pull their finger out a bit more in this transfer window. But I digress. I just think it's all down to FFP and PSR. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think on this. Let me know what you think of the interesting developments going on in the progression of this season's transfer window. Let me know what you guys think and feel. Your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, will make for great interesting reading, I'm sure, down below. So please do get involved down there. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up. Enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always greatly appreciated. Get involved, like I say. Would love to hear from you all. But like I say, thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again in a bit.